(1,424 days, 356 into 4. And why I'm giving you these numbers? Because it's been 4 years since the last World Cup. This is all what we wait for. But yeah, now you can say that, yeah, there are too many these ICC competitions. The weight, the excitement is not as it was last year. But see, this is the World Cup, and when it comes, it's swashbuckling. 100 and it's just 10 days left. It's here, and when it comes close, the nations get ready. The excitement pulse, and we are here to tell you that which team will make it to the semifinals, which team might even win it, and which team has the chances of upsetting the others. Hello and welcome to the fifth umpire, the direct hit, and we are with the defending champions. Can they retain their crown? They look as solid as ever. They don't have the home pressure, but certainly their recent form has been topsy turvy in one day cricket. Pritam, England, one of the favorites. I don't know about the Kohinoor. They took it, they didn't return it to us, but will they take the crown and not return it to us? What do you think?
Oh, you just made the introduction completely done and dusted. But yes, welcome everyone to the Fifth Umpire and Directed show. It's the 10-day marathon that starts from today. We are kicking start with the defending champions England, and it's as he said, as Aryan said, that this team is filled with talents. They are always looking powerful, especially since the last World Cup. Even they won the 2020 T20 World Cup as well last year. So yes, they look very strong, but we have a lot to talk. Lot to talk. It's never ending, but. Uh, we start with the defending champions, and before we start, it's somebody we definitely need a guest, and it's from the local lads from England itself. Aryan, I'll take it over to you. Bring on the guest in the picture.
Oh, okay. So this guest doesn't need any introduction. He's been here many times, and I think now we can draft in Sandy Paji. Preetham, if you can draft him in, he is here again from England. Paji, I know there's a soft spot for you, with the Indian team. But what's the vibe in England? What's the expectation? As I said, you haven't returned the Kohinoor, but are you planning to take the cup from us as well this time?
It's coming home. The cup is coming home to England. This is where it belongs. Confidence is high. The media, English media, think that the final is there for us taking, and they want an India-England final, and the India-England final, and England to win. That's what the vibe is here. I think Australia may be a bit of a shock, but I still think two best teams out there now. Number one team India against the defending world champions England. I think that will be the ice on the cake for the final.
Yeah, definitely. And this team is ready because they look very, very strong. And we have a lot of things to discuss with you, Paji. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. And we can't wait to get things rolling. I'll take it over to Aryan. Aryan, let's begin with the squad, the 15-member squad which England has announced. A late change of Harry Brooks coming in for Jason Roy. You go on with the batsmen. What does it look in the first line itself?
Okay, first line looks threatening as it is, but one player who's famous in India for various reasons, he's come out of retirement, and Paji, he's on the mouths of every Indian in a different way. But Ben Stokes is the player, so he's come out of retirement. He smashed a century. He's is he playing as an all rounder? Is Matthew Mott saying that, okay, you are the batsman, you just go and bat, you don't need to bowl? What's it around Ben Stokes?
One, it's his leadership. Although he's technically not the captain, he is the captain in the dugout. His experience, when the pressure comes on, Ben Stokes always shines. So I think that's the thing. Yes, the team's been up and down, like Pritham said, but the reason being Ben Stokes was that missing piece. So I always said that he's going to, as soon as the World Cup is going to be announced, he's definitely going to come back because I think he's integral to this part of the team. Like Morgan was before, Ben Stokes has taken up that mantle, but he's the inspiration behind the team. Josh is the boss on the pitch, but in the dressing room and everything else to do with the pressure and stuff, Ben Stokes will do that. And I don't think he needs to bowl in this team. And I think that's the big key. They can manage it. And if one bowler does get tanked, then he could bowl a couple in. But they won't risk it now. The injuries won't risk it. They want him in a position, and that position being what India struggle with is that number 4 position for me. That they want to secure him there and then.
Yeah, we have seen in the New Zealand tour as well. Like against New Zealand, he was playing as a proper batter. But him being there, being that responsible, and he knows that he's somebody we can definitely say a man for big occasions. And he always steps up to the occasion. Ben Stokes. We also can see. I want to ask you, Paji, about the captain, Josh Butler. How different is his role when it comes to a shorter format of the game, batting at the top, to a longer format of the game, batting in the middle order? How different is it for him in these two formats?
It is pretty different, but the difference, big difference being we've got quite a lot of a gun batting lineup. So, with Rajasthan, all the eyes are on him. He's always at the top. He sets the tone for the innings. But in the ODI setup, he's there more as that finisher, that middle innings. When the scoreboard isn't ticking well, you've got somebody with all the shots. And that's why him and Livingston are very key to this England setup, because they are those players. If they do come in, say 24th, 25th over, when when the spinners get on top, you've got two players that can hit the ball quite hard over the fence regularly, and they're 360 players, which means that the fielding side do struggle against the talent like that. And we saw it with India in the last game with Surya Kumar Yadav. You put him in, say, with 15 overs to go. It's very hard to set a field to that type of player. So I think Josh's job is, if there's a collapse at the top, he can settle the innings. If the top fire, he can then obviously get them to that 330, 400 score. Because if they get that 330, 400 score, they'll be a very difficult team to beat because of the bowling options that they have.
Yeah.
Oh, correct. I think nail on the head there, and sorry for the network issue. But coming to the squad, a lot of depth. But Paji, we'll go to the playing 11 later. But we are looking at backups in Gus Atkinson, probably a Reece Topley, probably a David Willey. Are these guys the backups for basically Sam Curran? If something happens to Curran, then these guys come in exact to exact, and then. I want to take you to Harry Brook as well. So, two-part question: backups for Sam Curran and Harry Brook. Does he get a go in the 11? And if yes, then where is it?
Yeah, for me, Sam Curran. For me, if I'm the coach of England, Sam Curran or Chris Wokes, that's the straight choice. Yeah, and then I would still keep Mark Wood. Mark Wood's my gun bowler. I would definitely probably go for Reece Topley. So Reece Topley plays. If I go for the pace attack, I'll go for Wood and Topley. And if Topley gets injured, then David Willey fits that profile. And then if you go Chris Wokes, you've got a left-hander in Willie as well. So very flexible with their batting lineup. As I say, for me, Sam, it depends. If he comes to a good start with the bat and the ball, then he stays in. Otherwise, I think the all-rounder spot, you probably get Chris Wokes. But the only thing I don't like about Chris Wokes in India, he can get hit quite a bit. So maybe Sam first and Wokes, one of those two. But I would strengthen the bowling and have probably Topley as my main bowler with David Willey to back him up. So I'd probably go that way. I don't know what the management will go, but Mark Wood is my gun bowler. So Mark Wood is definitely going to play all the games. And should he get injured, then you've already got the backups for him. But for the all-rounder spot, I think it's a toss-up between Sam Curran and Chris Wokes. Harry Brook, to be fair, you want to play him at 3. I think that the opening pair is set. They won't mess around with that. And you'd either have Harry Brook at 3 for me because you don't want him to be facing the spinners too early. So if they lose a wicket early, perfect. Harry Brook will be fine. If they lose a wicket late and the spin's on there, and then we know Harry Brook does struggle against top quality spin. So I think what England will be doing in certain matches, they will go with a certain 11 and their best 11 in the matches that count. They'll go with their best 11, and the other matches they can chop and change 2 or 3 places. But almost like India, seven or eight spots are fixed. So how they then manipulate that team management, that will be very interesting in the match. And it's obviously with India, different surfaces, different conditions. Whatever the wicket says, that's what they will go up with the matchup.
So you're saying that it depends on the conditions you're going to play this kind of a lineup. So just like we are going to talking about India definitely in some day, but we are going to play our spinners, 3 spinners or 2 spinners according to conditions. But here I see you have just gone with one prime spinner, Wadil Rashid, and which makes Moeen Ali a nailed batsman, nailed all-rounder into the playing 11 straight away, even if he doesn't perform well.
Yeah. Morwin has to come into the batting side because obviously he's a lefty, so we need another lefty in the 11s, and especially a lefty down the order. So I think Morwin will come in. Morwin will definitely bowl overs, but then we've also got obviously Livingston. So Livingston can bowl 3 or 4 overs. That's why I say we don't have to rely on a spin on an extra spinner. So whereas we can obviously use and then again, we don't know about what's happening with Ben Stokes if he can bowl as well. So bowling options wise, we've got plenty of bowling options. And one thing that we have, which other teams lack, we have bowlers that are used to bowling in Indian conditions. So I think that's the key thing for us. Is Livingston's used to bowling in India. Root can bowl in India. If Root comes in for me, Root is number 3 against the big teams. Root is definitely going to come into my squad in my first 11. One, just because of the captaincy on there, but secondly, his batting is reliable, and I think he'll be very good in the subcontinent. So I think I would still go with Root, and he can give you extra overs as well. So we've got a lot of potential in mixing and matching our attack without drastically changing the setup of the team. I think that's where England are probably the strongest team in this World Cup.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Deepu has a
agreed.
question, Paji, that if England, who's your death bowler then? Okay, Sam Curran, yes, but he got whacked in the IPL. We already saw that. And then Mark Wood, he has a tendency to go for runs because his pace can be used, right? So who are you trusting with that role in this World Cup? If I can rephrase the question, 2 bowlers. Just name me 2 bowlers who you give the role
I,
for this.
I think that's why I would keep Topley into the attack. Obviously, Sam or Wokes or Mark Wood. What you want to try to do is bowl them out, say 6 or 7 overs before they get to the end. You just don't want the batsman to have a consistent, have their eye in against the speed of Mark Wood. So maximum 2 overs at the death out of the last 10 for Mark Wood. I think that's why I said Topley, you got probably more control. And if you want to go for the left armour, you've got David Willey. But again, I just don't trust us bowling like somebody 4 or 5 overs in the last 10. You just need to manage that attack of say maximum 2 overs each in the last 5 overs or around that, so they can manipulate the attack. And that's why if Ben Stokes does bowl say early on in the match, it gives the team a bit more flexibility. And if the spinners are bowling well, again, you just don't want to leave too much on there. But again, I think the big thing for England is that if they bat first, get big targets, then they can manipulate the strike when they're bowling. And if they bowl first and it's not due, they can use more spinning options as well. So I think that's where we probably do stand with England. I think they've got a good balance of the team. It's not reliant on 2 or 3 players performing. They've got people that if one player doesn't perform, they have a lot more options.
Okay, so you're not relying on individual brilliance. That is wonderful to see. And this England team, I think they have the most depth batting lineup. I think the 11 or 10 players, they can bat and contribute with runs, which is phenomenal. We move on to the next slide. This is a history of England cricket in the last 5 ICC Cricket World Cup tournaments. Paji, we'll go to 2003. Can you remember that picture under the captaincy of Nasir Hussain getting knocked out from the group stage? Do you remember that 2003 World Cup?
Only vaguely. It's gone out my memory. I've got amnesia. All I can remember is last year last time we won the trophy. But again, we've been we've been unlucky. We've had some good times, but this is the difference between this team and the other team. There, we only had a few players. Like I think Stuart was one of our main players there. Nasser was the captain, and again, just being able to get two or three players playing together was a big challenge for us in those days because we just didn't have the depth. Now we have the depth. I think that's where the history is different now, because I think, like with us now, we have that fear factor when we play other teams there, in the subcontinent. We soon as the World Cup is in the subcontinent area and we say, oh, we can't play spin, that was the big problem. But these things don't matter anymore now, and it's a different game, isn't it?
Yeah, and see, we were only kids in the first two editions, so we really don't remember. So the thing about the depth is that in the 2011 World Cup, you had the likes of Graham Swan, who could bat a bit. There was, I think, Chris Tremlett in the bowling attack, and then there was that Ganju, who was that
Trust. Trust.
Treadwell, sorry, Treadwell. So
Oh,
the
Treadwell,
James
yeah,
Treadwell.
Treadwell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was the spinner, and Michael Yardy, he was also a left arm. So they had bowlers who could bat a bit. That was 2011, and then Paji came the shock for good that transformed English cricket for good. It was the 2015 World Cup. Okay, when you saw that, what was your reaction? And if you look back at it today, you might think that this happened for good.
Yeah, it's interesting because the thing is we've seen this development, and after 2015, you look at the way England have played. The T20s gone big. The domestic cricket was never on. Never taken seriously. They had a Sunday program, which was the JP Sunday League, 40 overs, 50 overs. After 2015, and we see it to 2019, more foreign coaches coming into the game. Started looking at, again, we started recruiting from Australia, South Africa, around the world. If your grandfather or grandmother was born in England, that was the difference. When the previous versions, it was always, you'd pick 11 players, and again, they would all be English. We've got Australians in the team, we've got New Zealanders in the team, we've got Pakistanis in the team, we've got almost every nationality in the team now, and it's a good mix now. Whereas if even in 2015, we saw the captaincy coming in, we saw that hunger coming through, we saw the backing of the team started coming through, and playing more exciting cricket. If you look at the exciting cricket, when it comes from, you are looking, roughly the IPL areas in the last 6-7 years since the IPL's coming into the ground. Batsmen being more adventurous, the less of the cautious approach. The scores started rising, taking more risks. That's all come from that team.
Yeah, and like you said, that England cricket got developed, and you are into a bit of attacking cricket in all the three formats, to be very honest. And I have a question for you: is that will England be successful playing the Bazball way in Indian pitches? This is a very important question because you are very much you're for the Bazball approach which England produces in red ball cricket. Do you think in white ball also they score 350, 400 runs with these? But in Indian pitches, will they continue with that same strategy?
Yes, I think they will. I think if you look at the lineup, especially the batting, it's all attack minded. It's players that can. And then that's why I say someone like Joe Root, you need some glue in there as well. So if you look at the top 6 or 7 batsmen, say Moeen or even Sam Curran, you add him in the top 7 or 8, you have players that can accelerate the runs quickly. So again, I think what England want to probably do, and I think most teams will probably do that if they have a gun batting team, they probably will end up batting, if they bat first, they want to score that 330 to 350 runs, high scores, so the bowlers could defend. Even if Dewey then becomes a later problem, they've still got enough bowling in mixture of spinning and attacking bowling to allow the team to successfully defend. I think where Bazball might be a problem is if it's a low-scoring game pitch batting becomes a lot more difficult. Can Indian switch down? That's the thing. Can they go down a gear and play, sensible cricket? Because they've now got into this attacking mode, attack at all costs, and just try to steamroll the opposition. So I think that is going to be the key for England. Will they be able to? For me, attacking wise, that's their DNA now. Can they do something when, in Chennai, say if you're in the field and it's like 30 40 degrees heat, that takes a lot of you physically and mentally. Can you then come into the dressing room and then still play that attacking cricket? Whereas you say if your body's worn, what would happen then? So it's going to be very interesting. And I say the thing with India is you got so many variations in, one, the dimensions of the ground, secondly, the weather conditions,
different venues,
thirdly, the pitches are all kind of different. So again, how you're going to manage that is going to be the key, and the type of cricket you're going to be playing would be obviously to that. So if it's smaller boundaries, you probably will see in England take a lot
The
more risk.
boundaries are, by the way, set by the ICC 70 meters. So that's an instruction that's gone out to the groundsman. So it's good. It's good that the batsmen are going to challenge. And now for the first trivia question, Preetham, if you can give it to Paji. So who's the batsman? Can you see who's the blankie? Who's the blank?
this is the first
in
question,
this
the
scorecard?
first quiz question for us in this show. So it's open to all. Even the audience can definitely let us know your answers in the comment section. We'll give you time, 30 seconds time for all of you guys. Can you guess the batsman out here?
Ooh, well, it's not Milan. I'm not going to go for Milan. Who was the other opener? Was it Vince?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you got it.
There you go.
Yes. There you
So
go.
Rohan says it's Jason Roy, who is incorrect, while Deepu says it's James Vince, which is absolutely
Which is correct.
correct. Even Paji says that the answer is here is the legendary ball by Behrendorff at Lord's in the 2019 World Cup, where he got in the first over itself. So that's the first of the three quiz questions. We'll definitely have more going forward. We move on, and it's the form of England cricket in the last 5 ODIs. They're in a good roll. They lost the first ODI was in New Zealand. After that, won the remaining three. It was the iconic Ben Stokes at over in the third ODI. We were all hoping that probably we might get another 200 in the ODI section, but unfortunately it wasn't. And then we moved on to the Ireland series, where the first one was washed out, and the second one is a comfortable victory again for England. But Paji, looking into this, the first thing I'll ask you is, how brilliant is this England jersey?
Yes, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's not. It's one of the this brand that they've got is one that even football teams have started using now. So yeah, it's a growing brand. I do like it. I do like it. Is it my favorite one? Probably not. I am an Adidas fan. Everybody knows I'm an Adidas fan, so that's the reason why. So maybe it's a good jersey. It's a good jersey, yeah. But I'm looking forward to how they play. The jersey is important, but yeah, it suits them. It suits them. I'm a bit of a fan.
Okay.
Yeah. So recent form obviously tells you how the team has been going. But Paji, if you take a few series back, they lost to South Africa. They were in a bit of a turmoil. Hadn't played ODI cricket for a while, and then this team regroups and then gets back to winning ways. So how have you seen the last few series? Happy with the preps? Happy with the preps going into the World Cup?
Yeah, happy with the prep. Very happy with the prep. I think. Yeah, going into the World Cup, it's pretty good. I'm not sure about this Ireland game, Ireland series, whether we needed it or not, because we are playing the second string 11 in that series. But the New Zealand one was a good test. And again, the way they came up, because I think I watched England get smashed at Edgbaston by New Zealand, and you thought, oh, what's going on here? Is this going to go into the ODI series? But yeah. And then suddenly, Ben Stokes and the find, and this is what the big find is. It's definitely David Milan, getting him in form. I think that's what it's been very, very useful for us to see that partnership between Johnny Bairstow and David Milan, because I think that is going to be the fixed, and that's the reason why Roy hasn't been picked, because Roy has been injured quite a lot. And again, I just think they want to fix that position. So you've got the stroke player in Johnny Bairstow, and then you follow up with obviously David Milan, and then your third and fourth, you can alternate it. If David Milan gets out, you could put in Root and let Bairstow fire, and then put Stokes to 4. So they've got a bit of flexibility through that.
Yeah, enough flexibility to change according to conditions, as you mentioned. And I think Deepu has a question, and I think this report is correct, but still I want to hear it from you, Paji. Is that there are reports claiming that Jofra Archer is traveling with the squad as a reserve player? Is this true?
I think it's highly likely Jofra will be within the party. He is training. And again, I think Mark Wood's fitness could be a doubt. He does slip a lot on the crease and fall over quite a bit. And he also, that you have to replace something fire with fire. So I think maybe Jofra will fit in there. And again, the good thing with Jofra, he can bat as well, and he's a gun fielder. So you've got 3 formats of Jofra Archer. The only thing you lack now is his game time and whether he can survive the rigors of a World Cup in the heat of India, in the heat of battle, and whether he can do that. I think that's the key thing. But for me, if a fit Jofra Archer, you definitely put him in this team ahead of Willie or Topley. You definitely he'll be in the squad. So I think Jofra Archer will probably be around. For me, I would definitely take him.
Okay. In case of an injury. And we move on to the second quiz question for you, Paji, and for all the viewers out here. Watch this question carefully. The question is from 2015. Is that England did not progress beyond the group stage in the 2015 World Cup. Which are the 2 teams they defeated to secure their only victories in that tournament? It was a horrendous tournament for England in Australia. But Paji, can you name the 2 teams England beat in the group stages and then eventually got eliminated? It's open to all. Even the fans can answer them.
And this was the World Cup, yeah?
Yeah, in 2015.
2015.
At Australia.
Australia. Who did they beat in Australia? I'm going to go, this is a guess, this is a complete guess. Sri Lanka.
Okay,
Probably
so
wrong,
I
but-
give you 1 clue and 1 answer is correct. Deepu has said that. So there's 1 more team, and that team is not in the top 7 ODI rankings.
Oh, Windies.
No, unfortunately, the time is over. One of the fans has absolutely answered them. It is
Oh my
none
God.
other than these 2 teams. It is Scotland
Did
and
Afghanistan play
Afghanistan.
cricket in 2015? I can't remember that.
Yes,
Scotland.
it is.
Oh my God. Terrible.
It is Scotland, Deepu says, and it is Scotland and Afghanistan, the 2 teams which England defeated in 2015 and lost to many others. I think New Zealand they lost to Australia, and probably they lost to
They
Sri
lost
Lanka
to
as well, if my memory
Bangladesh.
is correct.
They lost to Bangladesh, which knocked them out. So
Well, that's
Correct, they
that's
lost
why I
to
didn't select,
Bangladesh as well.
that's why I didn't select Bangladesh. I can't believe Scotland and Afghanistan. I can't even remember Afghanistan's team in 2015. Did they have a team? Yeah. Wow.
It was that wicket keeper, I guess. Aryan, who we were discussing it backstage, was Mohammad Shahzad, who was the wicket keeper in
yes,
2015. Was it?
Mohammad Shahzad.
There you
Correct,
go.
Shahzad.
It was Mohammad Shahzad in 2015. But if anybody's memory is correct, who is that player behind Ian Bell right at the back? I can't recognize his name. At the left behind is
Okay.
James
I know
Taylor.
who used to play
James
pretty
Taylor.
well in the country.
which one?
James Taylor. James
yeah.
Taylor.
Oh,
His
Taylor.
name.
behind-
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I've met him.
Behind Ian
I've
Bell.
met him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've met him?
Yeah,
Wonderful.
he's part of the
Like,
ECB now. He works with the ECB.
was he part of Somerset, if I'm not mistaken? Or
think
which?
he
No,
could
he
be
was
something.
not. He was a not. He
Not.
was a Notts player, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's
Oh,
not.
he was not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
And he
Okay.
had an illness, didn't he? He had an illness. That's why he had to retire. I think that's why one of the reasons was illness. I think through first physical illness. I think. Yeah.
All right. No problem with that. We move on to the the next slide. It is the one which we will come back later, but it's the fixtures. It is the schedule which you will definitely look into, Paji. But looking into the right hand side of the corner, the venues, there are some of the spinning grounds like Delhi, Lucknow, and none other are that kind of spin tracks for England. Which game are you? Pick two games which you are scared of to face the opposition.
I would
And looking,
say Pakistan and India. Yeah, those are
Okay.
probably
so you're seeing
my two
Pakistan
games
at the Eden Gardens and
at Eden
India
Garden.
at Lucknow.
Yep.
So definitely at Lucknow, England will not suit the spinning conditions. Well, I think at Pakistan at Eden Gardens, it's going to be a run-scoring game. But the reason behind you're fearing Pakistan, is it because of the pace attack?
What they will turn up, what Pakistan will turn up, and that's my thing with that team. You
Yeah.
do not know what will turn up. They could get thrashed against Netherlands, and they'll come back in a match that counts, and they will play them out. They'll play us out off the park, and again, it's the
Remember, this
bowling
is the
attack.
last league game. Remember, if it comes down to that, England are going to play last league game versus Pakistan. So that
Yeah.
that
And
that
if
makes the
Pakistan need to go into that
football.
game needing a victory, then you might see them do. The only fear I have with them now, they've lost Naseem Shah, and I think that's going to be a big blow to their bowling attack. And I think that's what will happen. And I said, any team that Pakistan bowl first against, and they keep them to a low total, they can win that game. They can turn up in that game. So, yeah, if England bat first scored a low total against their bowling attack, which would be on fire on that day, then it would happen. But the only issue for me now is how fit Haris Rauf will be and how fit Naseem Shah will be. Haris Rauf should be playing by that time because I think he might miss a couple of games. But I think at the end, if Pakistan need that match to win to go through, and you don't want to face them if they get through the group stages, you don't want to face them.
Yeah, and I think just like India, Pakistan, similarly, India, Sri Lanka is in Wankhede. Similarly, South Africa, England at Wankhede. I think it's once again turning out to be a game which happened before as well. You're not fearing this game because South Africa have so many powerful batsmen, and at Wankhede we know it's going to be a 350 plus, maybe 400.
Josh Butler, Bairstow, those players on that ground. I think we'll be we that's a ground that will suit England. I think. And again, no need for a spinner. Quick bowling against that gun batting. I can see England win. And South Africa don't have depth. That's their problem, especially with their bowling. I'm not now. Noche is not in the team. I think that's a big blow for them. And who comes and replaces him? And Palakawelo, I don't even rate him as a cricketer. So. But Kalesh is there. So Kalesh is probably the one
Hey,
thing that
Kalesh,
will do.
Kalesh,
Kalesh is there.
beware of Kalesh. But if you guys remember, I don't know if the fans remember too. There was a certain player for England who got a century or a half century against South Africa in Wankhede, in the T20 World Cup in 2016. Can you guys name that player? Who was that player who got runs in that league game? England v South Africa. That was at the Wankhede Stadium.
When was that?
Was it Morgan?
2016
2016.
T20 World Cup. T20 World Cup, which was in India.
Was it? You're saying from somebody from England,
South Africa.
Huh?
or was it from South Africa?
He
From
was
which
from
team?
England. Which England player? Which England player got the runs? He got, I think,
I-
hefty score. He got a very
Is
good
it
score.
Alex Hales?
No, Paji, what's your answer to that? He's a very unlikely player, which
Very
may
unlikely.
come to mind. But
Ooh, Moin. Moin only gets 30.
no, no, the answer is Joe Root. The
Oh,
answer
Joe
is Joe
Root.
Root.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came in at number 3. He was playing that T20 World Cup as a specialist new ball bowler. He got Chris Gale in the final too. So yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's was something that came in. But I think the venues are pretty good for England, batting friendly venues. Delhi is also a flat one now, so
Yeah.
they should sail through. except for a few games. I think the first game, also in Ahmedabad, that will give us an idea of how many runs or wickets are we going to beat Pakistan by, because then we'll get an idea of the pitch. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think fixtures are pretty much good. Pritam, what's the next on the show?
Yeah, the next is playing 11. That is very much interesting choices picked. I think when I was making the playing 11, I could see 10 out of 11 players from all the three of us is common. The difference between the three of us, rather me and Aryan, have almost the same team. I think the batting order is even the same. It's just that you have brought in Reece Topley instead of Chris Wokes. So you're saying, I have a question for you, Paji, is that the reason behind you're going with Reece Topley ahead of Chris Wokes or Sam Curran is that you want a genuine new ball bowler?
A genuine new ball bowler and potentially death bowling. Yeah, I think that's the key. And it all depends, like I said at the start, is how Sam Curran is bowling. Because again, he's been very expensive. I know in the IPL for Punjab, he was very expensive. He's been very expensive. I've seen him in the 100 get smashed quite a bit. You're not getting a top form Sam Curran now. And I think against a good batting team, in India, maybe in Australia, or in New Zealand, Sam Curran will go for a lot of runs. So, especially at the end when you've got attacking batsmen in at the end. So I really, really do think it's going to be very, very important that you have two strike bowlers. And like India are doing the same with Siraj and Bumrah, that you have them at the start and you keep them at least 2 overs at the end of the innings, because they are genuinely bowlers. So I think that's the key of why I went for an extra proper bowler. And you look at this batting lineup, and up until Adil Rashid, they're all bat. Even if you put Chris Wokes in instead of Sam Curran, there's not much difference. Then what you then do is obviously you replace Reece Topley with Willie, so you have a left arm bowler as well, and then you also have obviously Wokes bowling as well. So realistically, if it was been playing in England, I would definitely be picking Chris Wokes, and obviously I'm a Warwickshire guy, so I would definitely want the Warwickshire guy to play. But again, I just think my team has that balance, and in case the batting team is running away with it, you want to go to a specialist bowler. You just don't want Chris Wokes or Sam Curran coming in, because they are both hittable bowlers. If it's not swinging, they can be hit more than Reece Topley.
Yeah, like I would bring back the question which Deepu had early on in the session, that was who, if you have to bowl first, and who would be your two death specialist bowlers you would finish your innings with? Because apart from Mark Wood, I do not see any other. Who's the other one?
Well, it'd have to be Reece Topley. That's what you'd go for, his additional pace. And again, his variations. He's less hittable than Sam Curran and Wokes, in my opinion, and that's why I'm not expecting a huge amount of swing in India. So I'm thinking, yeah, Chris Wokes down the hill when it's woken, wobble seam and stuff like he's brilliant at that. If not, you are risking it. You are doing it, and that's what I say. Mandela just to come up with a left arm bowler. It would Willie's the only option. Willie's the other option as well. So I'm just going to go for top lead because of his recent form. He plays the longer game. He's got experience of playing in India with RCB as well. So I think I just go for him other than Willie. I know Willie's played for RCB as well, but yeah, let's stick to Topley. Or if Curran doesn't play, then you go for Willie and you go for Wokes instead of Sam Curran's place.
Agreed. And this
All
11
right.
looks settled. Spins covered, paces covered, and not much to differentiate in this England 11. Also, with the venues they are playing, they might need spin on one or two venues max to max. So they've got the paces. Yeah, Preetham, take it from.
Yeah, and before we move on to the third and final quiz question, there is a fan question that is just a personal opinion. Can Butler try out opening the innings at the World Cup because he has scored a lot of runs in the recent times in India? Would you change your batting lineup?
Only if Johnny is unfit or if Johnny is struggling with the bat. then you would put in Josh Butler up the top, because I don't think you can move Johnny. Johnny's going to be opening, and I just think, yeah, I would stick to Josh Butler coming in around the 25th, 26th over, and he's got 20 overs because he can do the damage then. And when the bowling isn't at its best, you've probably got spin bowling at that time. I still fancy Josh Butler a better spin bowler, player of spin than Johnny. So I would stick to Josh at that
And
position.
And the plus point I see, no, I just noticed about this England team is that if you just swap the batting position of Liam Livingstone, Moeen Ali from the top till Sam Curran, you always have an alternative right-left combination coming up. You have Besto right, Malan left, Root right, Ben Stokes left, Butler right. Then you have Moeen Ali left, Livingston right, Sam Curran left. This is phenomenal. You can play just like the captain's one. If a left-hander gets out, I send a left-hander. If a right-hander gets out, I send a
And that's what I was
right-hander.
talking about, flexibility, not just in the bowling. You got flexibility in the batting lineup.
Yeah.
If you look at our teams to Liam Livingstone, they're all the same. So it almost picks itself. Moeen Ali can go up or he can go down. Sam Curran will stay at that position. And then Adil Rashid, how Reece Topley, whatever you want to change those around. And even Mark Wood, Mark Wood has been batting really well as well. So you could even put Mark Wood ahead of Adil Rashid. So
Yeah.
you've got 11 batsmen, you got 11 bowlers, 10 batsmen, 11 batsmen, 10 bowlers potentially, because they're all bowl. Yeah, other than Johnny or Joss, everybody else. Milan's ever bowled. I think he has bowled spin, hasn't he? Yeah, he has
No.
bowled spin. So
Has he bowled spin? I don't know.
He bowled one over for Punjab Kings, so I remember.
yeah. So well, he's not going to
All
bowl,
right.
but you know what I'm saying. You've got every base covered, and I think that's where England are very strong.
Yeah, absolutely. And we move on. We move on to the final quiz question. And it's once again to you and for everybody who's watching this. It is from the 2019. So I believe Paji will be very familiar with. And this answer is also very familiar. It's quite easy if you can read the question. It's in the Cricket World Cup final of the 2019. England defeated New Zealand. Definitely, that is true. How did England win the match? I'm not talking about the run out. I'm talking about how did England win the match?
Well, the ball hit Stokes' bat on the floor, didn't it? I went for four.
No. It's not that. Like, if you look into both the runs were tied up. So what was the result? Like, how did England win the ICC
Oh,
Cricket
okay, yeah,
World Cup
it was
2019?
on. It was it net run rate or wickets lost? It was one of those, was it?
Boundaries, I think.
You
Boundaries,
need
yeah,
to
it was on
quick it.
boundaries. It was
You
on
need to
boundaries. Yeah,
quick it
that's what
up
I'm saying.
because
It hit the
Deep
bat. The
has
ball hit the
already answered it once again.
punch, man. Well done. Yeah.
Deep has answered it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is the boundary count because New Zealand hit 17 while England hit 26 boundaries in the ICC Cricket World Cup final, and that's the reason why the game got tied, but England won in the super over because of that. It was
Yeah.
fantastic. Three game interesting questions. Yes, Priyam says the same. Rohan says the same. So it was all of them correct in the final
And
one.
Paji,
So
I was just a lead up to that. Who threw that ball which hit Ben Stokes' bat? Who was the fielder?
So Aryan, if you can frame the question
Was
so
it
that the
Gupta?
fans can definitely
Huh?
definitely answer that. Before Paji
Okay,
says that, if you can
who
frame the
was the
question.
fielder? Who was the fielder who threw the ball towards the keeper's end, and that ball ended up hitting Ben Stokes' bat, and that became the most controversial topics in cricket. So who was that? I would say, how do we say
Fielder.
bechara in English? that poor
Paji, to
fielder.
you first.
Corso.
Paji, what's your answer?
Oh, I think it was Gupta, wasn't it Gupta?
Yes, you got it. You got it.
Yeah.
Bang on. It
It
was
was
not
Guptill.
Guptill.
Gupta
Gupta,
ji.
yes.
It was Guptill.
Yeah.
And also an interesting as we're talking about the final, I'll ask everybody. Most of us are cricket enthusiasts. Like we remember 2022 World Cup, Harsha Bogle saying that iconic sentence about Virat Kohli. Then you have Ravi Shastri
Oh,
saying about 2011
I
World
already
Cup.
know where this is
Who
going.
was the commentator for the 2019 World Cup final in the last moment?
It was what's his name? The guy with the white hair. What's his name?
You need to answer it, and not for you, Aryan. It's for the fans and for Paji. Who was the commentator?
What's his name? I know. He used to play for New Zealand. The Kiwi. Oh, the
Yes.
white hair.
Y-
Ian something. Is it Ian? What's
Yes. Yes. You
We're
got the
again
first name
losing
right.
it
It's
to
Ian
Ian
Smith?
Smith.
Smith.
That's it. Ian Smith.
Ian
Yeah.
Smith.
Yeah.
Correct. It was Ian Smith and his frustrating commentary, but it was fun, wonderful. Yes, it was the super over, but it was from Ian Smith who said that in the 2019 World Cup final. So yes, it was wonderful. This quiz question. We'll definitely carry on in the next games. And so, Paji, talking about the predictions. Firstly, I'll come to Aryan because your picture is first. Aryan has picked India, England, Australia, and Pakistan. My first question for you is Aryan, do you still see Pakistan being that strong enough?
No, I just want a India Pakistan final. So that's the only reason I picked Pakistan. And that was my bit of a bias towards that. But see, Pakistan first time most of them haven't played in India. So uh, and Naseem is not there. So realistically, I don't see it. But I just wish this is only on my wish that Pakistan goes through. Except for that, I think the three teams except for Pakistan, I feel they should make it without too many hiccups.
All right. And before anybody asks me, I'll go to Paji. Paji, you have said the three teams. Definitely, it's common between the three of us. You have gone with New Zealand.
Yeah.
The reason behind you have not picked Pakistan, and if you consider my pick as well, reason why you have not picked South Africa as well.
Okay. For Pakistan, simple question. No Naseem Shah. Harry Shroff, you don't know what you're going to get with Harry Shroff is in his injury. Hassan Ali, again, another Warwickshire boy, is a good player, but I think he can get smashed. So Jijaji, I'm sorry. I don't think Jijaji's at that level of a Naseem Shah or a Harry Shroff. So I couldn't go for Pakistan. But again, as I said before, if it's going in the last game against England and they need to win, they might just do it. So not discounting them at all. And South Africa, I just think the bowling is a bit weak. I just don't see that bowling there. And I'll say again, under pressure, that team cracks. That team cracks under pressure. No Noche as well. I think that's a big blow for them because if they've got
Okay,
Noche and
okay, but I have a question. Number one, I also picked Pakistan because I wanted to save India from New Zealand in a potential semi-final. So why? Why?
well,
Even after
I
four
think
years.
that's why I said I go for New Zealand. So England, India against New Zealand. I see India beating New Zealand. I see them beating New
Okay,
Zealand. I see them beating
okay,
them there. That takes that monkey off their back. New Zealand
okay.
in the semi-final. So that's one of the reasons. And the other reason is an Ashes battle in the semi-final, which England beat
Yeah, okay.
Australia. That would be
Got it,
awesome as
got
well.
it,
So
got it.
you then get you get the 1947 pre-post the battle, the Kohinoor, as you said at the start, the empire builders against the new India, and I just think that would be a fantastic final, champions versus world number one team, and then whoever wins will be undoubtedly the best team in the world. No rankings required, no cup there. We'll have one champion, one face of ODI cricket, one world champion, and that be the best finale for this, wonderful cricketers extravaganza.
Yeah,
That's me.
Yeah,
and also I would say mine as well. For South Africa, I think I have gone with South Africa. I understand that Nokia is not there, but that new bowler, that's Kodzi, if I'm not mistaken, is a phenomenal. He's phenomenal. If he and Rabada, I think since the last IPL, has been a very off form. You both Punjab King fans will definitely agree to this. Rabada has not been the real Rabada we witnessed in the 2019 World Cup. So I think he's missing that flair, but still with Maharaj and Shamsi being two spinners who are wicket taking, I think they have that batting lineup. We understand they are chokers, but if I think they have a good enough squad to make it to the semis. And if you're
With them, just one thing there.
comparing between South Africa,
Yeah, just one thing there. Pretty
yeah,
sorry to just drop. If Faf was fit, yeah, and Faf was playing for South Africa, I would go for South Africa. So yeah, just clear that. And he was captain as well. If he was captain and
yeah,
playing, I would definitely say South Africa would, because then you've got that player who is brilliant in India in Indian conditions. Bavuma for me, don't see it. Although he's played well recently.
Okay, so here is a Delhi Capitals question for you from me, as well as I'll bring Deepu's question. Paji, can you trade us Rabada back to Delhi Capitals, please?
Yes,
No,
have
let's
him.
not go into this is World Cup, man. When did this show turn from World Cup to IPL? Let's leave IPL for a side. And
Well,
yeah,
I'm
carry.
happy to give you. I'm happy to give you Rabada. Give us Bapu back. Yeah,
Yeah.
give
No,
us
that's
Bapu
not
back. Give
gonna.
us Bapu
That's
back, and
not gonna.
you can
We'll
have
keep that
Rabada.
aside. We'll focus on the international cricket. But yes, this is our three picks. Here comes the next guest we will have tomorrow, and go on. We'll have all the guests coming up in the show with their picks. This was the top four prediction from the three of us. Paji picked New Zealand, Australia, England, India. I picked South Africa, Australia, England, India, and Aryan has picked Pakistan, Australia, England, and India. So these are the three picks from all the three of us. We move on to the next slide. That is the leading run scorer. I'll come to Aryan first. You've picked Shubman Gill and Shaheen Shah Afridi. Right now, we were speaking about Chachu, and he wasn't right in his. He was very good in the Asia Cup. You think he's going to be that threatening without Naseem Shah?
Oh, it's not about if Naseem is there or not. It's basically people getting Shaheen Shafri through with in the power play. See, there are a few teams who won't do it. I feel Netherlands won't be able to get past him. Sri Lanka won't be able to get past him. Bangladesh won't be able to get past him. I feel also South Africa, because it's been a long time they haven't faced him. South Africa are not gonna get past him. So I feel he's gonna minimum of 2 wickets in all those games, so which tallies up to 8 to 10 wickets already. And then you go on to the other teams. Hopefully, he doesn't get anything versus India. Having said that, he's a X factor, and I think uh, ever since my his name came out of my mouth in that first Asia Cup game, he's been doing well. So I think maybe he does well this time too. So yeah, that's the reason. And Shubman Gill nazar na lage. I think where's wood? Touch wood, touch wood, touch wood. Nothing happens. Touch wood. I'm not gonna jinx it. I'm not gonna really tell you why I picked him. He's just in a purple patch. Let him continue.
So your batting, probably the reason why you have picked Shubman Gill is the similar reason why Paji has picked Shubman Gill as well. So he answers that question. Me and Paji have the same wicket takers. Paji, if you can speak on behalf of me, the reason why you have picked Kuldeep Yadav as your leading wicket taker for the World Cup.
I just think that if you look at history and Kuldeep being the confidence bowler, recently he's just been on fire. He's taken roughly three wickets per game. Transfer that to friendly conditions at home, the confidence that he's going through. He knows his place is back into the team. I just think that he's very, very tricky to read. I think the conditions will suit him as well. But I just think, again, like Shubman, I've gone for Shubman because of the purple patch. And I think that's why I've gone for two Indian players, because I think familiarity with the grounds, familiarity with the situation when he's coming into the team and when he's bowling, I think he can cause a lot of damage to that. So I'm really going for form. I'm really going for class, and as I said, I'm going for someone where the top Indian bowlers, if they are keeping the runs quite low, the economy is quite good, then you will take more risks against someone like Kuldeep. And if Kuldeep, you take risks against Kuldeep, you are almost certainly he's going to win the battle, the key battle. So that's why I probably will say for me, it's probably Kuldeep. But that's it. And with Shubman, again, purple patch batting in India, confidence running through him. Now the number one, batter in the world, most certainly. I just think again, he plays the two things with him. He can take the risks, and he knows when to take the risks. But he's got all the shots, and the shots are proper cricketing shots. So that risk is a bit below. But I really do think this is what's going to take India to the final. Is those two players.
Wonderful. And Shubman, definitely. Prince, and I don't want to speak much, just like Aryan didn't. But I thought I was the only person that's picked the captain himself as the leading run scorer. But I have got a support. It's one of the fans. Ronit says Rohit and Kuldeep Yadav, just like I did. And I think he had a wonderful 2019 World Cup. 5 centuries, if I'm not mistaken. Him being the captain, the man at the top, I think he might just take things under his control. But here are a couple of fans saying their predictions. One of them is saying two different predictions from Vas. It's King Kohli, fingers crossed for him as well, and Mohammad Siraj. Siraj, the man who himself won the Asia Cup final. Any Paji to you for Mohammad Siraj, Kohli for Aryan. What's your take on Siraj going into the World Cup?
Siraj, definitely another player high on confidence. I think is he the number one bowler in the world now? I think he's the number one bowler.
Yes.
He's the number one bowler in the world. But again, with Siraj, for me, it's always been, and he's played for Warwickshire, so another good link for me. I think since that coming back from Warwickshire, I think his levels have gone up a notch as well. And I think with Siraj, you may get the runs scored off him, but he takes the wickets. And very similar to Harris Rauf. Harris Rauf can be expensive, especially at the back end of the innings. He's pretty expensive, but he is the wicket-taking bowler. And I think that's why India are really, really sticking to Jasprit Bumrah and Siraj, because then you've got Jasprit, whose economy rate is usually quite good, does take the odd wickets, whereas his economy is probably a bit higher, but the wickets he takes right at the top, especially with the new ball. We've seen that through Mohammad Siraj, and he's pretty good now with the old ball, which he wasn't before. So I really think Siraj will be up there, and I definitely think, I say, for me, Kuldeep, because of the way the batting time will be bowling, and they will be taking risks off Kuldeep rather than Siraj Bumrah.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And Deepu says a different one. He definitely goes with Siraj as a leading wicket taker, but he says
Oh yeah,
happy
please.
retirement
I want to see
to one.
just a second. I want to see other players as well. There are other countries. So whoever is watching, I know we love
Yes,
India, but I mean, to be fair,
but
all players are good. Yeah. So if
your
anyone
question has been
has a
answered here, Aryan. Yes,
De
your
Kock,
question has been answered, Aryan. Deepu says Quinton de Kock as the leading run scorer. Happy retirement for him.
happy retirement.
yeah,
Very good in
yeah.
India. Again, and why not say Kalesh? Yeah, I didn't just say Kalesh,
Ah,
because and again, bats well in India.
He loves India too.
Bats very well in India as well.
he
So
loves India.
you will see there's a lot of the contenders, but as I said, I think the leading
Even you
bowling
have David Warner who started scoring runs in India.
not for me, Nah, nah, I don't.
Hmm.
I see David Warner just good enough for Delhi Capitals now. He can stick to Delhi Capitals. He doesn't need to perform anymore. But as I said, the team that will go to the final will have probably the top run scorer,
Leading runs.
and they will have.
Don't forget Babar Azam. Why do I get a sneaky feeling now that he's going to jump in there and we are not talking about him? Uh,
Definitely.
he might also just go
And
in
Rizwan,
there, but
and
yeah,
Rizwan, and
yes,
Rizwan.
and
Even
Rizwan.
Rizwan.
So
Yep.
yeah. Let's see what happens. We can go on and on about the contenders. Eh?
Yes. And the final slide for us. It's common. I don't know whether it's biased feelings or it's you just want the trophy to come back home, or I don't know what it is. But it's the three of us predicting just one team who's we are not talking about today, but this will stick at least for me and Aryan. Paji, reason behind selecting none other than Team India because you joined the side and you come home to England. So here you
I
have
think I
predicted
see that
India.
the final. I see the final England versus India. I see that the final, and then it becomes more a toss up of who bats first, the conditions and stuff like that. But again, if you asked me before the Asia Cup, who's going to get to the final, I would have definitely said England. But now I've seen through the Asia Cup, the the way India have batted. The reason why I said India, because if you look at the top six of India, just one thing for me, I just wish Rishabh Pant was playing. If Rishabh Pant was playing, then I would definitely say 100% India would be my team. But again, I just see India now having those key batsmen, other than Rohit, and that's why I didn't pick him to be my top scorer. I see all the other batsmen now in form. KL Rahul, that was a big question mark. He's come good from that. Shreyas Iyer, we saw yesterday, come good. The Prince, Gill, he's been on fire, scoring the 5 or 6 centuries which he scored this season. So, and then Virat is back to his best. And again, Virat now the pressure is off him because he's got batsmen around him. It doesn't all surround around him. So I think I would just say, India, if they maintain the form with the bat and then maintain the ball with the form with the ball, then it doesn't matter because they don't have to worry about 8. And the biggest thing for India, the biggest plus is Hardik is fit. So Hardik will then give you the bowling options. He will give you some leadership on the pitch as well. And again, his crucial thing, his batting. Again, so I say that's the reason why I say India is there. And I assume Ashwin will be in the team because Ashwin will be in the team, and then that will strengthen their spinning options as well. Kuldeep still plays with Jadeja for me, but when you need to play 3 spinners, you've got Ashwin who can bat a bit as well. So I think India have all the bases put in. They're coming in with a lot of momentum. Can they handle the pressure? That's the key thing. If they can handle the pressure, they should be world champions because if they're batting fires, I don't think anybody can touch them. The only team that can touch them would be England.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll not talk about India much because we have too many things to talk in its live session. Definitely, we'll cover up India's live session too. Aryan, before you, anything you want to say about this session before I go on to the conclusion part?
Yeah, basically, as always, Sandy Paji on point. Now he's a bit spoiled in that final, but he obviously sees a India-England final. See, this England team, obviously, everybody's scared of this team because of the depth that they have been able to build. A lot of credit goes to the IPL as well. Now you'll see how much that is essential because now no Indian conditions is alien to them. If I start from the top, there's the Punjab Kings, 2 Punjab Kings players up at the top. Then there's the Rajasthan Royals coming in. Then there's a Chennai Super Kings for you, and then there's also a Chennai Super Kings for you. So if you want to build a franchise 11 out of that England 11, you can write it down and you'll have the franchise 11. So see, previously, if it was prior 2008 era, I would say tough for England because nobody is used to the conditions. They don't come here often, but now it's from familiar grounds and familiar conditions. They know it. They are playing the opening match, so that's a bit of a pressure, I say, because the hype is obviously all around in a big Modi Stadium. How are they going to go? But once that game is done and dusted, and then England just gets into the groove because the next game is Bangladesh, they'll just hit it off. If not in the first match, second definitely, and then they'll be away. So brilliant session, England. I wish them all the best, but let's see how they perform.
Just
they
one
had a
question to you
heartbreak.
guys: What's your final? What's your final, Aryan?
India Pakistan.
Oh, it's tough.
And Britain?
I'll go for an India Australia or an India England. I don't think so. I am. That's the reason I picked. I don't think so. Pakistan will make the semis, but I think it's either going to be India England or India Australia. But there's a very very crucial question for you: is that if it's India versus England final, which team will Sandy Paji support? Oh my God!
I'll pass.
Can I have an honest
I'll plead
answer
the
to
Fifth
this?
Amendment on that one. But yes, to be fair, I want India to win the World Cup. And again, I would have been super happy to have, Arshdeep playing. Then we would have at least one Punjab Kings player playing in the final because we have more Punjab Kings players. We have half the team playing for England. So, it's a difficult one. But obviously, I would love India to win the World Cup. And again, just think it'll. We're giving the game to everyone. We've given them the opportunities to everyone. We don't take the opportunities ourselves because I'm a big believer that our players that don't play for the country should be playing, franchise cricket in England and playing franchise cricket in Australia to get
Yeah,
their experience in.
absolutely.
I think that's one of the reasons why I'd say that. So India does deserve it. But I'm just really a super fan of Shubman Gill, my Punjabi brother, my Punjabi boy. He's just doing so well. I'd love to see him add another trophy. He's got everything in the book before he's 25. And that will just cement his legacy. We wanted
That's
another
fantastic.
Yuvraj from Punjab, and we've got Shubman.
Absolutely. Deepu says it's India South Africa final. If South
South
Africa
Africa,
reaches the
bhai,
final,
if
oh my
We
god.
don't want
South
that.
Africa,
Kalesh Bala. Kalesh and Kalesh
no,
Bala.
no, no. If South Africa don't choke, if South Africa don't choke, this is the greatest World Cup ever to take place on this planet Earth. That will be the breaking news. Forget the final. If South Africa win the semi-final, they've won the World Cup. As simple as that. They're not choking. If they're reaching the final, they're not choking. So that's not South Africa. That's East
They're
Africa.
not joking. The
So,
Kalesh Belga. Kalesh. Pura Kalesh Belga.
oh no. Wait. Who was South Africa
Let-
opening up against? Who are they opening up against before
South
before we
Africa.
end? Who are they opening up against?
I'll check that.
Just
But yeah, again,
just so
that's
we
the
are
It should
on.
be someone. They're playing Sri Lanka. They're
Sri
playing the
Lanka,
first
yeah.
game
Okay.
against Sri Lanka, then they move to Australia.
Good start for
Okay.
them.
So we'll talk South Africa some other day, but yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. All right. So thank you so much, Paji, for this live session. It was wonderful having once again England local lad, Paji, out there straight away from England. Right now, I think it's 5:30 at your place. But
It is now,
is it so?
5:35. So perfect timing for my team.
Yeah, it's perfect timing to have your evening snacks. For us, it's dinner time. It's fantastic to having each and every one of you. Thank you so much, everyone who have joined in the live session, each and every fan. Once again, me and Aryan will be consistent. It's the first marathon session done. It's England. Tomorrow we have the second marathon session. It's Afghanistan. So it's back-to-back blues. We are going to continue. It's a new guest, definitely. We will have the quiz questions coming up right away for you. See you tomorrow at 9 p.m. Till then, thank you so much, each and every one of you. And thank you so much. Good night. Bye-bye.
Take care.